one of the co-founders of Claynosaurz, and I also act as creative director. In a previous life, I spent over a decade working in the film and animation industry, working with companies like HBO, Netflix, Disney, Sony, pretty much everybody. And I spent most of my time doing that as an animation supervisor. So that means that I was running creative teams and production units for tentpole projects like Paddington, Fantastic Beasts, so the Harry Potter franchise, and even Game of Thrones. Not the last season. I know it sucked. I wasn't there, so that's good. And basically, my whole team has the same track record. I put together a team of all-stars. And the story is in 2021, basically we were kind of like disenfranchised. All of us, we were launching IP or building franchises for the big studios, and we were really tired of it. We kind of saw a system that was broken, which is why I feel like Lola is like throwing me a huge alley-oop here. So you guys are going to get it. And we wanted to take back control for ourselves. We were also a little bit degen, so some of us were already in the NFT space as collectors. If you know anything about animators, we're hoarders. We like to collect toys and all that stuff. I don't want to show you guys my desk. And in 2021, that's what we were doing. And we thought, man, maybe we can build a brand for ourselves, and maybe we can be empowered to do that alongside a community. And in 2022, that's exactly what we did. We launched our first 10K collection, which eventually became 12K. And these are the Claynosaurz. We were thinking of like everything from like toyetic potential, all that kind of stuff. But the important thing to know is like this was the most complicated collection ever built on chain ever. And nobody can prove me wrong here. From a tech POV and from a 3D POV and from an animation POV, this was next level stuff, and it still is today. It was the first time you had different species in an NFT collection, especially in 3D. It was the first time ever that you could collect animation clips, and still to this day, that hasn't really been recreated at the level at which we did it. All the assets, of which there are thousands, were built in a modular way, and were built prepackaged, ready for content. That was the master plan. But above all else, we built a collection for collectors by collectors. It was engineered to have these gamification loops and make you want to collect all these different assets. And there's so many different ways. There's like 100 different ways to collect these Claynosaurz. Like you can collect like 3 T-Rexes that are all blue but different patterns, et cetera, et cetera. You can collect ones that are galloping. Anyways, there's a lot, but that was all pre-planned. Our objective was always to pioneer new ways to empower creators and audiences. That's where we thought the future was heading. And as a creator-led company, this is basically the drive for us. It's like we're very creator-forward, but we're also audience-forward, which we felt wasn't really something the big studios were doing. That's why we were disenfranchised. We were like, man, like we know what people like, and we want to be in there with them. We were in the industry trenches, and we saw kind of like how broken the system was. And you guys might feel it too. And of course, again, these guys were just talking about it. Today, the entertainment landscape is more competitive than it's ever been. It's going to get even worse with AI, but you've got distribution is democratized, so anybody can upload stuff like pretty much anywhere. The box office is on a downtrend. And there's like no barriers of entry to content production. There's a lot of content producers here I see in the crowd, and you guys know this. Like it's just, you can do it on your phone. And when you're in an ecosystem where there's an oversaturation of content and a 12-year-old kid in their basement can upload a video that outperforms Netflix's Friday release, that seems like a top signal. That's how we felt. And I want to ask you guys a question, like how often do you like browse Netflix and you end up kind of like spending more time trying to choose the thing than actually watch the thing? We have choice anxiety, we have choice fatigue. That's where the ecosystem is right now, the entertainment ecosystem. And if you're going to commit your time, usually you only do it because like you've got like a friend that's kind of giving you a recommendation on the next TV show you should watch. For studios, it's always a little bit of a hit or miss strategy. You invest huge amount of upfront dollars building a product that takes years to build. It's either a TV show or a movie. AAA games, by the way, are basically the same issue. And you don't even know if it's going to be sticky, and push marketing doesn't even work today. There's no brand loyalty, and you can only monetize after the fact. Traditional IP launch models, they don't match today's consumer behavior, especially as it pertains to content consumption. We wanted to figure out a new approach, and we were lean, and that's exactly what we were going to try. So how did we start? Well, after our mint, we had some funds to play with. And the approach that we took was a social media first approach, which is something that few companies are doing today. You actually see it a lot more in product companies than you do in entertainment companies, because the entertainment companies don't actually want to take a risk on just going straight to social media, but we did. And the plan here was like, why would we build long form content if nobody's ready to consume or give us our attention? And we wanted that flywheel effect. We already had the NFT demographic that had bought into our collectibles ready to scream about us on top of the mountaintop. So why not start in social media? So we started with short form evergreen content. Evergreen is really important because you gotta stay organic. The goal here is not to get as many views as fast as possible. The goal is always to make people fall in love with your characters. That will always be your super weapon. And the beauty about social media is it could actually be your test kitchen. You're pumping out atomized content, and you can A/B test all that stuff really quickly. If a video doesn't work, that's great. You know about it early on. You've spent minimal amounts of dollars. It's like 10 seconds. Who cares? We don't repeat the same mistakes. If it works and if it's sticky, lean into it, learn from it. And so for us, it was really the litmus test, and the proof is in the pudding. So we've only been at it for a little bit over a year and a half, and organically, and avoiding too many trends, avoiding clickbait. We want to have confidence in our numbers. Organically, we've grown our accounts globally upwards of 500K followers. Our TikTok recently is going absolute parabolic, which is awesome. TikTok is a tough one to navigate. And we've accrued hundreds of millions of views, again, keeping the content really organic. The other really cool thing is that all the Claynosaurs that you see in our content, these are community members. These are digital collectibles that interoperate across our entire digital ecosystem, so we use them in our content. That means that your early fans are essentially cast members. We can reward them that way, and they're in on the story, and it's like super cool, especially in this day and age where most people feel like they can, or the people in the NFT ecosystem that are buying these digital collectibles feel like it could be a digital extension of the self. It's an expression of the self. So when they show up in content, or when their dinosaur shows up in content, it's extremely empowering. But entertainment is non-linear. It's not a single lane anymore. It's actually a web. And you have to meet the audiences where they are. And that's what we wanted to do. And kids today, they're going to start like on a game, and they're going to find a brand there, and they're going to fall in love. But they're not allowed to play that game forever. So what do when they're not allowed to play the game? They go on YouTube, they watch streamers or content about that game. And when screen time is over, they then go to physical. So they'll go to comic books, magazines, or just straight up books about that same franchise or brand, and then they'll go into toys and so forth. But the point is, most of the kids will stay within one ecosystem that they love, and that's the beauty about a transmedia brand like the one that we're building. It's the best way to put it is that it's a brand with multiple expressions through stages, through ages and stages. We can tell different stories in different places, and it allows us to meet the audience where they're at. So what are we doing next? Well, in the beginning of fall, we announced a huge partnership with none other than Gameloft. If you don't know who Gameloft is, they're one of the biggest, if not the biggest, mobile games producer on the planet. And these guys are forward thinking. They've been wanting to dip their toes in Web3. These guys took a bet on mobile games before the iPhone ever showed up, actually. And we're so proud to be working with them on their first ever Web3 development. And right now what you guys are looking at is some alpha footage of where we're at right now in the development process, some really cool videos. And you might be able to guess it, those are the NFTs. Everything in our ecosystem interoperates. So they're going to port into the game, which is really cool for the original collectors. But as far as the mass consumers are concerned, they will be getting, it's going to be a free-to-play game. They're going to be getting free dinosaurs. Those dinosaurs will also be NFTs under the hood because we're future-proofing our entire ecosystem. But it'll be abstracted for the average user, but it'll be super cool for the original collectors. So that was the trailer that we had released when we announced this. I'm going to the next slide because otherwise the audio is going to loop. The reason I wanted to show you guys that video is, well, once again, every asset in that video is a community member or a fan or a collector. And oftentimes what we do is we kind of like, we pay attention to our community and we pay attention to their personality traits and we actually inject that into the content. And that was like super, super cool. But the other reason I wanted to show you guys that is a little bit like, if you guys remember what Supercell was doing with their content, with Clash of Clans and stuff like that, any opportunity we have to tell stories, whether it's a clip or something on social media or a trailer, we tell stories. The goal here is sort of guerrilla tactics. You're trying to get people to fall in love with these characters every step of the way. And that's what we're doing with content like that. Of course, we're looking at physical products. Some of you might already own our plushies. I hope you do. And if you don't, please buy some. They do have digital loops in there. And for us, it's a great way to make them interface, again, with our entire ecosystem. And it also extends the life cycle of the physical asset because you can throw in so many experiences once it's got an on-chain digital loop. Okay, this one I'm super excited about. So we are making a TV show. This is pretty much the first time I'm ever on stage actually revealing this. We kind of talked about it a little bit on our Discord. It'll be one of the first of its kind. There will be some on-chain activations and gamified content viewing loops. You'll be rewarded for the way in which you interact or watch the content. It's going to be season one's going to be 40 episodes. It'll be 7-minute episodes. We're going straight to YouTube first, but we're also going straight into European broadcasting. And after the fact, we're going to go to the streamers. So there's a race going on with all the other Web3 IPs, and I think we're going to win it. Right here, you've got like a lot of concept art that we're working on, a lot of world building. These are stuff that we've worked on with our community as well. And so we're super excited about finally getting into long form content, but we couldn't get there right away. We had to start with short form and make sure that people are ready to consume that sort of long form content and that we had enough leverage. We're going to announce the partner at the end of this month. It is a huge, huge, huge partner. And these guys build franchises. One of their latest franchise prints $1.2 billion a year in merchandise. So very bullish for Claynos. One of our secret sauce is to build in the open. We're very transparent. Unlike most of Hollywood, actually, we are like super transparent. We're not afraid to show development, images, concept art, all that kind of stuff. It's really fun for the animators and for the creators, but it's especially fun as an early inclusion tool for your early fans. Like they feel like a part of the story and they get to kind of see that sometimes it's messy. Sometimes we have ideas, we throw them away. It's almost like you're able to educate them in how we build what we build, but right in front of their eyes, they get to see this thing come to life, and it's really exciting. We get a feedback loop. We're in the trenches with them. They might tell us what they like, what they don't like. For us, I can't even tell you how valuable that is as a company that's incubating content. Like, we do not have to worry about, is it going to be sticky? We know when it's sticky. And when the ideas work, we just lean so hard into them. We're also extremely transparent with meetings. We build in the public. Of course, sometimes there's NDAs we deal with, so obviously we don't reveal that. But for the most part, like team offsites, strategy sessions, content ideation sessions. For content ideation sessions, we usually bring them into the room, into the Discord room, so that they can give us ideas as well, and we're co-creating with our early fans. It's extremely empowering, and it's like an engine. Our real secret sauce, though, is digital collectibles, and in turn, the engaged community that it builds. If you do your job correctly, you're basically able to incentivize your early believers, and you can pre-package an IP with a diehard audience. We've thrown some of the biggest Web3 events on the planet. Sometimes we had 1,500 holders or fans show up at these events, and over there we would often drop digital collectibles as a modular storytelling unit. It's no different than trading cards or introducing comic books in between a movie and its sequel so you can tell other stories. Collectibles are actually a really powerful storytelling tool, but it was also a great way to engage and reward those fans for showing up and get them hyped about it. So what we're really doing now and focusing at Claynosaurz is we're building a true collector's universe. We believe that's going to be the connective tissue to everything we do at the company, all the content we output, everything's going to be tied to collectibles. So let me explain a little bit. So last week, super excited about this, we just released our first, the beta version of the achievement system, which Jack in the audience has been working like crazy to build. It's an insane build out. The UX is amazing. We're going to be building this thing out for a couple years, and essentially the thought behind this achievement system was that we were looking for a way to constantly engage our audience and give them compounding rewards for stuff that they're already doing anyways. The way in which they interact with our different verticals. And when I say it's the connective tissue, this stuff connects, to the community activations, to user-generated content, to gaming, to collecting. So, for example, you can get rewarded by collecting 3 dinosaurs of a specific trait, and there's a point system tied to that. And there's a badge system tied to that. You can get rewarded, or you can farm a badge because you've commented on 3 different YouTube videos. You can get a badge for showing up in Dubai and getting a geo-fenced badge that's in these booster packs, which I'll be handing out after. And basically, we were looking for a way to just have compounding returns both for the brand, because you're creating a lot of engagement, and for the user. But more important than that is more important than that is that the fans are able to kind of write their history or write their journey alongside the brand. They've got a memento, and because it's on chain, these act sort of like memory shards. You're not just writing history on chain; you're actually preserving it. And so what that means is the fans can then say, "Hey, I was there in Dubai when they announced this and that. I can prove it, I mattered, and I can prove it, and there's the badge, and I'm being rewarded for it." It's really about having your audience feel not just rewarded, but actually seen. And how often do you kind of you're looking for something from a past memory or a past experience, and had it been on-chain and digital, you'd have easy access to it, and you could prove to your friends that, oh, you actually checked in or you did this thing. That's what we're doing with our ecosystem, so everything's going to be connected. All right, so now the fun stuff. So I just want to say we're super happy to be here. The energy's been absolutely electric at Basecamp. The next part of our adventure will happen on Sui. What you just saw is kind of like our minions characters. It's going to be a crazy collection. I'll get to it in a second, and I know I'm running out of time. Sorry, I said I'd take long. We've never been afraid to explore the uncharted. It's part of our DNA. It's why we chose Solana 3 years ago, and it's why today we're choosing Sui. And we're so beyond bullish, especially after this week. It's been pretty insane. But it's not just because of how great the chain is or how fast it is or insane next level tools like Walrus, which will definitely help us. It's actually because this is a team that shares our obsession with innovation. And to us, that's everything. They also understand the importance of security, abstraction, and UX. Users don't care. When they're on YouTube, they don't care what's under the hood. Like, they just want to watch content. When you buy a skin on Fortnite, like, do you for a second ask yourself, is it safe to buy this skin? Like, that's ridiculous, right? And these are hurdles we have to overcome on chain, and the Sui team is really thinking about those things. We don't actually see it as infrastructure. For us, we see it as a new canvas for storytelling tools. So the Popkins are going to be our next collection. This will be our first ever large-scale expansion. It's happening all on Sui. It'll be one of the most complex minting experiences ever released. So we're super excited about that. We've been working on this for like about a year. It's also, it's going to leverage our new booster pack system. So it'll have this amazing gacha system. Get ready to hear all the mint details. There's 9 different types of characters. Each of those characters have different body shapes, mutations. There's almost 1 million possible combinations. It's absolute insane stuff. And we've rendered enough frames to fit about 5 times the running time of Spider-Verse. It's a lot of frames, and all that stuff is going to get stored on Walrus. So here's some examples. So, yeah, Walrus is awesome. So one of the things that we do every time we build a 3D collection is we kind of build a 2D collection to plan out how we're going to build these things. So it's kind of just like fun to look at. Anyways, if you guys are following our Twitter account, you're going to see all this stuff. So what happens next? What we're really up to is we're building an entertainment accelerator. We're going to leverage all the tools that Sui has to offer at our disposal to rewrite the IP playbook. We're going to empower new creators and foster new teams to develop other franchises alongside us. We're going to disrupt the studio model, and we're going to build the next iteration for the new digital age. Call it the Pixar Web3. And guys, before I shut up, I just want to say one thing. I've been in Web3 and crypto for about 5 years now, and I've kind of discovered a universal truth. Everybody talks about mainstream adoption. It's like on everybody's bingo card. And it's pretty much like the sexiest thing to say. I feel like everybody in this audience has said mass adoption like at least once in their life cycle as a Web3 person. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Mass adoption is not going to come from DeFi protocols and casinos and technical white papers. It's going to come from experiences people want to share. It's going to come from characters, stories, and worlds people want to be a part of. It's going to come from entertainment, and we're going to do our part. Thank you.